"Holy Zorglub, they've taken us prisoner," I exclaimed as the police shoved us none too gently into the holding cell. My fellow Zorglone tourists huddled together, just as confused as I was by this sudden turn of events. We were on the vacation of a lifetime, experiencing the wonders of planet Earth, the diversity of cultures, the amazing natural landscapes, the delicious food. It was everything we had dreamed. We Zorlubians have been fans of human media for ages, broadcasting their television shows and beaming their primitive internet to learn about them. Perhaps we build up quite the romanticized image of these humans over the centuries. So when tourism opened up, we jumped at the chance to finally experience humanity's home world firsthand. But here we were, locked in a primitive detention facility after some minor misunderstanding on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So much for the heroic welcome we imagined. My friend Zoo blinked his eye stalks in distress. But we have our travel visas. Why are they treating us like criminals? I waved my appendages. No doubt just a cultural misunderstanding. We'll clear it up and be on our tour again in no time. At least I hope so. Just then, the metal door slid open and two humans entered. One, whose insignia designated him as the chief. The other was clearly some kind of junior attendant. The chief glared at us. "All right, listen up. We got calls about some kind of disturbance on the street. Then we find you things causing a scene outside Grauman's Chinese theater. You'd better explain yourselves unless you want to be charged as public menaces." I cleared my vocal membrane and tried my best friendly Earth greeting. "Greetings, fellows. So kind of you to visit." I tapped the universal translator pinned to my upper suit. "As you can hear, we come in friendship from the planet Zorglub. We're but simple tourists here to experience your magnificent cultures." The human's glare did not soften. "Tourists? My Aunt Fanny. More like some college pranksters in costumes causing a ruckus." My appendages wilted in dismay. How could they not recognize our legitimacy? I switched tactics. "Please, scans of our physiology will prove we are extraterrestrial. Check your computer networks. You'll find the approved visa documents filed by our travel agency." The chief waved a dismissive hand. "Even if you are aliens, that don't give you a free pass to cause public disruptions. You'll stay put until I get to the bottom of this." They turned to leave. I pleaded, "But wait, please. This is all a misunderstanding." The door slammed shut behind them. We slumped to the cold floor in despair. This was not the thrilling Earth adventure we pictured. After a time, another human entered, carrying nutrient pellets and liquid. Likely some form of sustenance, though none too appealing in appearance. "Hi there. Sorry about all this," he said with an awkward smile. "I'm Mike, one of the deputies. I know the chief seems gruff, but he's just doing his job." My appendages perked up. "Greetings, Mike the deputy. I am Zoo, and these are my traveling companions." I gestured to the other Zorlubians. "Thank you for the, food, but we remain confused about why we are being detained." Mike shook his head. "Wish I knew, too. The chief can be a hard nose about the rules once he gets focused on something. Hard to get him to budge." I pondered this new information. Perhaps appealing to the dominant leader's ego would sway him. "Might you speak to the chief on our behalf? We only wish to clear up this mistake and continue enjoying your city before returning home." Mike looked uncertain. "I'll try, but no promises. You really did a number on those tourists on Hollywood Boulevard, and the chief hates paperwork." "Tourists? Number? What was he talking about?" Mike continued. "Anyways, hang in there. I'll see what I can do." As Mike left, I turned to my comrades in dismay. What is this about tourists and numbers? We were merely observing landmarks as instructed by our guides. Zoo answered uneasily. "Well, when the humans surrounded Charlie Chaplin's imprint in the walkway, I thought they wished to honor him with a traditional Zorlubian crab dance." "Oh, dear," I groaned. "The dance of joyful snapping? No wonder the chief believes we caused a disruption. My action seemed appropriate at the time," Zoo said, wilting. "No, the fault is mine," I replied. "I failed to properly prepare you all for human social norms." We sat dejected, realizing our ignorance of Earth culture had landed us in this predicament. Perhaps we should not have built up such fanciful expectations about humanity from their overly dramatized media exports. We would need to adapt to understand their ways, and soon, if we hope to be freed. I paced our cell anxiously, my appendages twitching. This predicament was worse than a moonworm infestation. But I must keep morale up for my comrades. Courage, friends. I shall smooth this over with the chief. Just then, the metal door slid open again, and the gruff chief entered with Mike. All right, let's sort this out. Deputy Mike tells me you claim to be aliens. Is that right? Indeed, Chief, I proclaimed. We come from the planet Zorglub as part of a cultural exchange program. Surely you have received the data work approved by your intergalactic immigration agency. The chief scowled. The only paperwork I've got are complaints from Hollywood Boulevard. Why don't you explain what kind of cultural exchange involves disrupting a tourist destination? I withered under his stern gaze. It was a simple misunderstanding, Chief. We Zorlubians expressed joy through an interpretive dance known as the crab dance, snapping when we saw the human crowds gathered around the imprints of famous ones. We assumed they wished to honor these celebrities, and thus began our traditional dance, meaning no harm. The other Zorlubians chorused in agreement, voicing their innocence. The chief pinched between his eyes, exhaling loudly. So you're telling me this whole mess is because you aliens started doing some wacky dance on the Walk of Fame? Do you have any proof you're not just pranksters in costumes? At this, I drew myself upright, gesturing to my uniform. Our appearance alone confirms we are not of this planet, and I withdrew a small sphere from my utility belt. This contains complete data on our home world. I placed the sphere on the floor, at my mental command. It projected a hologram of the Zorglubin landscape into the cell, lush pink vegetation under a green sky, elegant bioarchitectural structures towering over the horizon. The chief and Mike stared in awe. The other inmates peered through their cell doors, murmuring curiously. Success. As you can see, Chief, we are travelers from the stars. Our kind has admired humanity's cultures for ages and long dreamed of visiting Earth. We intended no disruption. The chief rubbed his chin. I'll need to verify all this with my superiors in immigration, but seems they dropped the ball by not informing us about intergalactic tourists. I may have acted rashly taking you in. At last, progress. We understand, Chief. No feelings. In fact, we consider this a valuable cultural lesson about the complexities of Earth. He nodded. Still, regulations require you stay put until your status is cleared. Might take some time with the bureaucracy, but seems you aren't a danger to the public. My appendages wilted. More waiting. Sensing our disappointment, Mike offered. What if we move into the overnight holding pen? More comfortable with entertainment options. Sort of a mini hotel. I'll allow it, decided the chief. They'll be restricted, but it beats a cell. My comrades cheered with joy. Thank you for your generosity, fellows. As we gathered our minimal belongings, I glimpsed the primitive Earth communication device on the wall. An inspiration struck me. Chief, might I use your visitor call system? I wish to phone the Intergalactic Travel Agency to expedite our verification. The chief raised an eyebrow, then shrugged. Knock yourself out. After the Zorglubins were secured in the overnight pen, I approached the device, recalling Earth media. I lifted the handset to my head, inserted Earth currency, and dialed. To my luck, a voice answered. I affected a grave tone. Greetings. This is your friend, Zoo, calling from the local law facility. My comrades, and I urgently require procedural aid. The bemused man assured no Zorglubins were registered in their system, but he caught on to my plight and agreed to contact immigration to expedite our verification, on one condition, that we patronize his brother's exciting new Hollywood bus tour company upon our release. I readily agreed. This human was most helpful. Positive relations were being forged. As the days passed, we settled into the overnight pen. The amenities were basic, yet provided some recreation. I regaled the inmates with tales of our homeworld, while exercising all four appendages in the courtyard. The humans appeared fascinated by our anecdotes and multi-limb dexterity. Mike even snuck in tastier snacks after each shift. One day, as we admired the crude human art upon the walls, my praise orb tumbled from my utility belt, hitting the floor with a resonant hum. Suddenly, the very scenery transformed around us into a realistic simulation of Zorglubia. Lush trees, chirping avians, and gently rolling hills now filled our surroundings. The inmates and staff reacted in shock. "Amazing!" Mike exclaimed. "Is this what your planet's really like?" I quickly deactivated the orb. "Oh, apologies. A minor malfunction." But the inhabitants protested, enthralled by the change of scenery. Even the chief seemed impressed. "Ah, guess you aliens got some neat tricks. Beats looking at these depressing walls all day." An idea struck me. We live to spread intergalactic goodwill. Let us distract you temporarily from confinement's tedium with a cultural exchange. And so, for 1 hour each day, we transformed the pen into wondrous vistas, Zorglubin beaches, the crystal mines of Blur Nan 7, the Galactic Museum of Alternate Histories. The inmates described it as better than TV. Our integration was proceeding splendidly. Soon, the immigration authorities approved our release. The chief presented the verification himself. "Everything checks out. Sorry for the trouble. Seems we got a thing or two to learn about cosmic hospitality." I clasped his hand warmly. The fault was ours. Thank you for your dutiful service on behalf of justice. As we made farewells, the inmates pleaded for us to visit again. We promised to send more praise, orbs once home as gifts. The next day, we gleefully resumed our proper earthly tour at a lively human gathering ground. That night, locals even joined us in dance. A news crew captured footage of humans doing their amusing moonwalk, while Zorglubians interpreted Earth pop hits through our traditional crab dancing. I sighed with contentment. Our mission was accomplished. A small step for interplanetary tourism, but a giant leap for cosmic kinship.